So Sonic X Shadow Generations has gone into overdrive mode when it comes to marketing and gameplay, and as of right now, we have a full look at the first stage and our boss fight, and the general consensus is that the gameplay looks really fun. But one thing I've seen thrown around a lot is that the gameplay we've seen to some people looks a lot like Sonic Forces. Now at a first glance, I could kind of see why, but now we have the full level and an optimized run from Fidel, so shout out to him, and we've had a lot of time to dissect it. So in today's video, I want to look at the first level from Sonic X Shadow Generations and the first level from Sonic Forces, including Mortar Canyon, because a lot of people really like that level for some reason, and I want to compare them and settle this debate. Is Shadow Generations comparable to Sonic Forces? So let's start off with Sonic Forces. And just to show you the button inputs I'm doing, I have my controller inputs right here on the bottom right, just so that you can see what I'm doing. So Lost Valley starts off with a straight line. And fine, whatever, I'll excuse this, it just gets you acclimated with the controls. But then you hit a dash panel, and as soon as I get this boost capsule, I kid you not, I do not hold forward at all for the rest of the level. All I had to do was hold X and the jump button a few times, and I'm sure I didn't even have to press that button as much as I did. And as soon as I finish the 2D section, I don't even have to jump anymore. You can just hold X until the end of the stage, and the level is over in 1 minute. So why does this level fall short? Well, first of all, this is the case for most Forces levels. The level is just way too short. A lot of levels in Forces just end right before they're about to get good, and I felt this most with the Egg Gate, where it had this really cool cinematic part, but it ends just right after. Secondly, the level just plays itself, man. Like you saw with the gameplay, once I got this capsule, I just had to hold the boost until the end of the stage. I think y'all know that Luminous Forest is probably the worst offender of this, where the first 15 seconds is just holding the boost button with nothing in your way to stop you. And it doesn't help that there's just so many enemies and boost capsules in your way that gives you boost so that you're never running out. And the fact that this level is just littered with boost panels for no reason, like, let's be so for real. Do we need 3 boost pads at the beginning of the stage where it's literally a straight line with no deviations and no risks of you dying or falling off the stage? Even if you wanted to, the game doesn't let you play it. And number 3, the level is just not designed well. Besides the aforementioned automation that is abundant with all the boost panels, the levels themselves are just not well designed. Most of them have no real interesting way of traversing them differently that provide any real substance. And that's the important part. There is no substance, because there is an alternate path in this stage, but it makes no difference, and it's so easy to get on it. All you have to do is just move a little bit to the right and you're on it. There's no skill required. There's no quick thinking, and it doesn't make a difference because it's right at the end of the stage where it would literally not matter if you took it or not. And again, this is an issue in this game where a lot of alternate paths are there, but they feel useless and not rewarding, and sometimes it's actually worse for you taking the route instead of the normal route. And I believe the best level to show this off is the one that for some reason everybody praises: Mortar Canyon. Now, this level is often praised for being fully 3D and being a level where you can actually experiment with alternate paths, but it's all a lie. Those alternate paths don't add anything to your run with any substance, and truth be told, it's better if you just skip them altogether. Now, when you start off the level, you have 3 ways to go. You have the straightaway, the right path, or the lower path. Now, that would be cool if these paths actually felt rewarding to achieve and offered any real substance, because in reality, you're just better off taking the middle path because it's literally faster, and the other paths just feel shallow in comparison because they don't feel earned. In past Sonic games, alternate paths were supposed to be reward for the player who knows the layouts of the level and can stay on those top paths to clear the level faster. In Rooftop Run in Generations, if you're able to go on the Rainbow Ring and stay on the top path and are able to, platform good, you'll skip a decent chunk of the level, and you had to actually be good to stay on that path. Here, you literally just go on the spring and it takes you up, and it just doesn't matter. But we keep going, and we have another quote-unquote alternate path, but it's just an attack chain. This game has a lot of instances where you just have a homing attack chain, and again, this is just another example of the game playing itself. All I had to do was spam the homing attack, and it took me to the dash rings. I didn't have to think or do any clever platforming or platforming in general, but I can excuse all of that. if it wasn't for this absolute atrocity. Right here, you have a split path. You can go left or right, or you can just...
God! For the love of God! Please!
What's the point of taking these two paths when I can just take the middle dash ramp and it takes me to the end? I save so much time. What's the point? This level's alternate paths are nothing more but stage dressing. They don't take you through the stage faster, they don't provide any type of reward, and the level doesn't get any better as you go. It actually feels like it gets worse. It feels like they just gave up halfway through making this level, and right before it feels like it's getting interesting, level ends in just a minute, and I bet you can finish it in under a minute if you really try. This level is a shallow attempt at disguising itself as a boost level with some type of depth, with poor excuses for alternate paths, which in some cases are worse if you take them. And again, this is a prominent problem in Forces. Even in levels that make an attempt at alternate paths with value, like Egg Gate, the alternate paths are literally just choosing which enemy I want to homing attack. There isn't any reward or sense of accomplishment. It feels like you're being babied, and it doesn't help that the controls in Forces is quite literally the worst controlling boosting game ever. And remember, controls and level design go hand in hand, and when both suck, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, I know I just spent like a third of the video shitting on Forces, but now it's time to see Shadow Generations and see how they compare. Now, right off the bat, you already have two choices for paths. One is the normal path, or the second, if you're quick and can catch it, there's a small rail that you can go through, and it takes you to the section much faster. Already, this level rewards the player for noticing and reaching this path with a quicker route. Then, again, you have two paths where you can homing attack and get this weird energy, which will be important later, or go on the bottom and just skip all of that. Now, real quick, I want to point something out. Fidel does this really cool move where he tries to go under but misses, but he's able to quickly re-navigate and boost back onto the spring. Now, this type of movement just gives me so much confidence in the controls. Allowing the player to do some cool moves like that just adds to the fun factor. And when looking at Forces, I was struggling to control my jump. Now we continue, and you can go the normal way again, and you can see two paths, with one of them being a wall running, which is kind of the gimmick of this level, but Fidel continues the normal way, and we get to this tunnel. Now, if you go down the normal way, obviously you'll be in the tunnel, but if you're quick, you can get onto the rail and go much faster, and on that same top path, there's a dash ring that can take you out even faster. Continuing on, we get to see the first instance of chaos control. Now, you can either avoid the missiles and go to the spring at the end, or you can freeze time and make the missiles the platforms to get to the dash ring to skip this section. This here is brilliant in showing just how the player can use the new abilities to traverse the level in new ways, and this alone just gives the player so much more agency in their controls than any level in Forces by a country mile. Then you keep going, and again we have some areas we can use chaos control to avoid missiles, again encouraging you to try and get energy because it helps you go through the level faster and easier. Then you get to the ceiling and you keep going until you get to some rockets. But if you're quick enough, you could spot a dash ring which will probably let you skip all of this stuff, but Fidel missed it, so he had to use chaos control again to freeze the rockets to go up, where we get to this really cool cinematic shot where Shadow beats the ever-loving shit out of this rocket. And sure, it's not really gameplay, but it's still cool to look at. And after this part, this is where most Forces levels will end. But here, the level keeps going, and you enter this hallway with a bunch of ways you can traverse. And really quickly, I just want to point out, this level has so little automation. So much of what's going on is due to player agency, whereas in Forces, there would probably be a dash panel here or 1,000 boost capsules. But here, it feels like you earn your shortcuts, and this hallway is the perfect example of that. First, you have this upper path that you can go up to, and now I'm not sure how to get up there, but it'll be fun to see how to when the game launches. And if you did take that path, you can see there was a faster route at the top to get to the end of the tunnel. But here, Fidel takes this smaller ramp using purely his speed to launch himself to the top path. And something that isn't shown here, but is possible, is that since Shadow uses Chaos Snap instead of a traditional homing attack, you can just teleport through the lasers to attack the enemy. This again just adds another layer of skill to the game, allowing you to cut more time. If you homing attack this beetle, it takes you to this dash ring and you can go up the path to the top level of this big room. And this is such a cool spot because you have such a sense of scale and scope of this big room that just lets you explore, and you can peep all of the alternate paths that are just in this one area. And again, it's not in this clip, but in another clip that Fidel showed, if you have the chaos control ability, you have this new light speed chaos control dash. And again, it just incentivizes players to try and get chaos control, and that in turn encourages exploration to find capsules or attack enemies to get energy. But eventually, it's just a straight shot to the end. Or so you think, because when Black Doom appears, you have another cinematic shot where the whole stage transitions into a radical highway, which is insane to me. Now, this part is kind of linear, but context is important. This is just an introduction to Black Doom, and there's some dialogue happening here, and right after, you go back into the action. And again, you have a bunch of alternate routes, like going onto this road instead of continuing on the rail. And probably one of my favorite skips here, Fidel takes the top route, and he's able to go on the grind rail and then jump onto a top grind rail and then go faster. But if he went down the bottom path, he would not be able to go into that top grind rail and skipping all of that stage, which is so important. This is what I mean by meaningful skips. But after this, it's just a straight shot, you know, going down the building and then doing some attacks, and then the level ends. Fidel's casual run being 5 minutes 30 seconds, with his speed run being 4 minutes 30 seconds. The first level is damn near 6 minutes on a first run. That's like 6 Forces levels. Now, when looking at this one level and comparing it to Sonic Forces, it's no fucking contest, bro. All of the problems that are present in Forces, being the stage length, automation, and just bad level design, are just not here at all. The level is a good length, there is little to no automation in this game, actually encouraging the player to experiment, and the level design actually rewards the players for exploration and quick timing, with alternate paths that mean something, that cut time off the level, or are just cool. And call me crazy, but the level design kind of looks like a mix of Boost and SA2 with the openness of it, but also the speed that you get with the Boost gameplay. And it baffles me when you look at this one level and the amount of detail and effort that went into it, and you can think that this even is remotely close to anything that Forces was able to muster up. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Sonic Forces has done irreparable damage to this community, and this game shows it. We see one straight line in a Boost game, and we automatically think Forces, when in reality, most Boost games are straight lines, but it's all about how they designed that hallway. Forces just did a really shitty job at making that hallway engaging. But that is all I really have to say for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment down below what y'all think. Do y'all like the level design? Do y'all think it's similar to Forces, or you think it's a step up? I personally, I'm genuinely trying to look at how it's similar to Forces. I can't see it. No level in Forces even comes close. And I feel like I promise you, I'm not trying to be like toxic positivity or anything. I genuinely think that when people say this is Forces level design, I think they're like trying to hate on purpose. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But that's really all I have to say for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm definitely making a Final Fantasy video next week because I've been wanting to make it. I haven't recorded, but all this news is coming out, so I wanted to make this video. But I'll see y'all in the next one.